Am I the a-hole for spending money I saved for a trip with my dad when he wanted to include his stepdaughter? Back in February, I, 17 female, asked my dad if we could take a weekend trip for Halloween to this haunted house event the two of us have talked about going to before. He said he wasn't sure he could afford it, but if I saved enough money we could go. He was going to cover some of it too. I actually saved up the money by early September and told him as much. Then he brought up the subject about how cool it would be to include his stepdaughter, 14, and it would be a nice bonding trip for all three of us. He asked me how I felt about that, and I told him I didn't want to include her because I wanted it to be just the two of us. He asked why, and I told him we never do stuff just the two of us anymore. I don't want that time with him. He said he gets plenty of time with his wife, but I said she's not him. That I wanted more time for him and me, not everyone together. Not me and his wife or me and his stepdaughter. He told me, okay, it could be just us. Then his wife blabbed because he didn't tell her I had said no. Then his stepdaughter wanted to go, and he told me he couldn't say no to her after that. So I told him to forget it, and bought myself some stuff with the money I had saved. This upsets my dad and his wife and his stepdaughter. My dad and his wife told me I responded like a child instead of an almost adult. His stepdaughter said I was so mean. Why would I do that? She was looking forward to spending the weekend with us at the haunted house. I told my dad I saved it for the two of us to go alone, but he has made it clear he doesn't want that time with just me anymore. And since that's how he feels, I am sick and tired of time with his family. That he shouldn't worry because I will be gone soon. That he can spend all the time he wants to with them. And the childish and mean one won't be living here in a few months. He asked why I couldn't just wait and do something else with him. Why spend the money? Why break the plans like that? It's not the first time I have tried to do something with him, and he automatically involved everyone or just his stepdaughter in it. And I even told him I missed hanging out just him and me. It doesn't do anything. I know his wife is upset because her daughter is hurt, because she knows how badly he didn't want her there, and she's also not going now. Am I the a-hole here? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You shouldn't be covering any of the cost of this trip at all. And your dad and his wife are being a-holes for downplaying your need for one-on-one time with your father. The money is yours and you're entitled to spend it on what you want. You aren't obligated to participate in a trip with your stepsister, let alone pay for it from your pocket. It's good that you stood your ground and didn't let them guilt trip you or force you. Going to the trip with a 14-year-old can also restrict the scary activities which you'll be able to participate in. You have to take that into account. I'm not quite sure that this place suits a kid, although it depends on her character and endurance. I hope that you're pleased with what you bought. At least it stays. The experience of the haunted house is over. Not the a-hole. Kids in all families are allowed to want one-on-one time with their parents. It is good and healthy and important. And it's even more important in blended families. I'm sorry your dad reacted this way. You were always upfront in your communication. You showed maturity here. Your father is not. I'm sorry your plans were ruined. Yep, Opie communicated clearly and from the start, and even saved up for it. She's not childish for letting herself get run over by her dad and his wife, and drawing a clear boundary and paying for the honor. Now next time she makes plans she's paying for, they'll know she's not bluffing. Doesn't sound like there will be a next time. Opie sounds tired of trying. Tired, heartbroken, rejected, alone. All words I could use to describe how I feel. Also mad. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not letting my ex and his girlfriend have family time with my son? Every year I take my son to visit his great-grandparents. Usually his dad, / my ex, will be there too during the trip. And they'll spend a lot of alone time together since my ex doesn't see our son as often as I do. The only difference this year is that this time he brought his girlfriend with him. The trip has been a disaster. The first week we were here, my ex wanted to take my son out sailing, and his girlfriend went with them. They came back early and my son was crying so hard he threw up. When I asked my ex what happened, he told me he didn't know that our son kept asking for me, but he told him they would see me when they got home, and he just started crying and wouldn't stop. Since my son has refused to go out anywhere with his dad unless I go too. He won't even stay in the same room as anyone else unless I'm there. I've tried talking to him, but it hasn't helped me understand his behavior. Yesterday, his girlfriend pulled me aside and told me I needed to give them space to have some family time, and that she really wanted my son to like her because my ex made it clear if he doesn't, their relationship wouldn't last. I told her I wouldn't force my son to go alone with him. She said she understood I was overprotective, but that I needed to let his dad have time with him without me hovering. She kept asking me, and I finally got annoyed and told her to tell my ex to talk to me if he had a problem. She basically told me that he was my ex's son too, and that she knew it must be hard for me to see him move on. Lol, but that I was being selfish and acting jealous. She's been giving me dirty looks ever since. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Something really messed up happened for your son to react the way he did. If I were you, I'd get some counseling for him if he keeps refusing to tell you what happened. As far as the girlfriend is concerned, she needs to shut up and stop forcing your child to like her. That's not how it works, and it's her problem to deal with if your ex breaks up with her. Completely agree. Something happened. My mama gut can feel it through Reddit. I don't even have kids, and I can still tell there's a strong problem with ex's girlfriend, not just a kid being whiny. Either they told him they were going to be a family/girlfriend as his new mom, and the idea of such a big change distressed the poor kid, or he was yelled at or physically punished for something, and probably told not to tell. Nothing happened, he just cried until he puked for no reason. Doesn't make sense. Not day home, but you would be if you don't get to the root of what happened to your son that day. Crying enough to throw up? There was some abuse. Do not rug sweep. Do not talk to the girlfriend. Talk to a lawyer, or at the very least, a child psychologist. Something happened. Something bad, and your son either feels responsible for what happened, or is in fear of saying anything because someone threatened either him or you. Your kid gets upset enough to barf. That is kind of a visual that something happened on a sailboat that has him not wanting to be alone with his dad or anyone else. I am thinking that new girlfriend was pushing pretty hard to get the kiddo to like her and become his new mom, and he took that badly. I could be terribly wrong about that, and you will probably never find out exactly what happened. But kid got scared and now has separation anxiety. Girlfriend is only acting in her own self-interest and could care less about your kid, except she has to get the kid to like her or she is out. I don't know what the deal is with the ex. He sounds like he might actually be good for your son, but he is acting all kind of crazy about this. The best thing is to give your son plenty of leeway to understand that nobody's taking him away from you. Nobody's taking your place, and he is in a safe spot when he is around other relatives and friends. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for excluding my nephew from my son's birthday party? My brother, his wife, and 5-year-old son, nephew, been living at my parents' house since 2019 because of financial issues. My nephew is spoiled. He misbehaves and gets away with everything. Throws epic temper tantrums if things don't go his way. I have 8-year-old son, and every year when his birthday party is over and everyone gets ready to go home, my nephew would collect the gifts my son received and throw a tantrum till we'll let him go home with them. My sister-in-law would spend an hour complaining about their financial situation and try to convince me to let my nephew keep all the gifts because he saw them. I tried to hide them in another room, but my nephew got access. I suggested making a list of the toys my son received, so my brother and sister-in-law would buy similar stuff for my nephew, but they'd end up leaving with them. My son would feel devastated and sad afterwards. Not just that, but in a matter of a week, would visit my parents' house and see most of the toys destroyed. This year, as my son's 9th birthday rolled around, my husband straightforward said, "Listen, I don't want what happened in the past couple of years to happen again. It's time to put an end to your brother and his wife's enablement. Your nephew shouldn't be invited if you don't want issues at a party. I'm just letting you know that if they bring him anyway, I'm taking the party over to my parents' house 3 hours away." So I called my brother and let him know that he either leaves his son at home and attend my son's birthday with his wife, or not attend if he didn't want to. He hung up, then called again in a few minutes and was livid, asking if I was serious about what I said about excluding his son from his cousin's birthday. And I said a reason for that is because of my nephew's misbehavior. He laughed, saying, "What's misbehavior? He is a kid, for Christ's sake. Go ahead and name one kid who doesn't misbehave." I said that what his son does, which is taking my son's birthday gifts, then crying and yelling his way into leaving with them, was not fair, because those gifts were given to him, and he shouldn't be guilted into giving them away on his birthday. My brother started talking about a struggle to buy his kid new toys, and said to him that I should encourage the kids to share. I said no, because everyone deserves to receive gifts and not be expected to share or give them away. I said he and his wife are welcome to attend, but my nephew isn't. He first begged and promised he won't let his son touch anything, but then got angry and said he was appalled, completely appalled by my coldness and cruelty to exclude my nephew like that. He said his son understands what's going on, and once it tells him his aunt excluded him from his cousin's birthday party, I shouldn't act surprised, because neither he or his son will forget how I treated them. Then hung up. Mom roasted me about my decision, saying I'm causing emotional damage over a few gifts. She and Dad wanted me to apologize and invite my brother's family. I'm sorry. You've allowed them to just take your son's presents in the past? What? How can you let your son down so badly? You should have stopped them, threatened to call the police, and followed through if they still took them. Also, you shouldn't have invited your brother and wife to come without their son. I fully understand not inviting the son, but at that point, you just disinvited them all. Did you really think they were gonna leave their kid with a sitter while going to a kid's party he wasn't invited to? Your brother and his wife suck. I feel deeply sorry for their son because they are doing him a great disservice, and they shouldn't be stealing from you. Your parents suck for enabling their behavior and expecting you to suck it up. You suck because in past years you did just suck it up, and you and your husband allowed your son to suffer. Everyone sucks here. This. Your son is not an a-hole, but everyone else is. Everyone sucks here. I can't believe all these adults ever allowed this to happen once, let alone for years. Your poor son. Birthday ruined year after year, and all the adults just let it happen. This. I can't imagine someone acting entitled to my child's birthday gifts, and me just giving in instead of being a grown-up and saying no. And for this to happen for years before the parents ended it, absolutely everyone sucks here besides the birthday kid. You're the a-hole for ever allowing this to happen to your son on his birthday. Right? Or at least everyone sucks here. I can never imagine allowing someone to take my kid's birthday presents away from them on their birthday just because a 3 or 4-year-old was having a temper tantrum. Kids that age have temper tantrums all the time. They don't know better. The idea that the only two possible options are either the nephew is allowed to take the birthday presents home, or the nephew doesn't come to the party at all is so bizarre to me. Last story. Am I the a-hole for fighting my ex and changing our custody agreement? I, 28 male, have been a single dad to 2 kids, 6 male and 4 female, for the last 2 years. My ex-girlfriend, Kate, 27 female, is the mother of my children but has not been present in their lives for the last 2 years. She spent the last 2 years in either jail or rehab due to her addiction, heroin. When Kate and I started dating, I knew she used, but I was young and dumb and in love and didn't use my best judgment. She got pregnant young, and to her credit, she stopped using completely and was a doting, loving mother. After she got pregnant with our second, we got engaged and were planning a wedding for a year after the birth. But after the birth of our daughter, everything changed. For the first 6 months or so, things were good and we were a happy family. But then Kate started going out with old friends, telling me she felt like she was losing who she was and needed to realize that she was also an independent person and not just a mother. I agreed that she needed to socialize and have a life outside of our family, but I was wary about the people she was hanging around with. It expressed my concern to her. She assured me that she had put that part of her life behind her, and she just wanted to be around friends again. Well, Kate started using again and got herself put in jail. She got out and went to rehab, but relapsed shortly after and went to jail again, this time for 12 months. During that time, I broke off our engagement and petitioned the court for full custody of our kids, and it was granted. We moved a couple towns away to get a fresh start, and my kids are now thriving in their new schools, and I have a better paying job. Now, Kate is out of jail and is living in a halfway house. She's working and getting an apartment, and has told me she wants to be part of her kids' lives again, and mentioned she wants partial custody. She said she was hoping to avoid too much drama in the courts and asked for my support on it. I told her I would fight her tooth and nail to keep full custody, until she can prove to me that she isn't going to mess up again. I told her I will allow her to see her kids under my supervision and on my terms, until the court tells me otherwise. She gave me a sob story about how much she's changed, and that she would never jeopardize her relationship with her kids again. But I told her all that talk doesn't mean a thing to me, because I have zero trust in her. She called me an a-hole for depriving her of a relationship with her kids, and I told her she did that to herself. She said I can't permanently blame her for the mistakes she's made in the past, and I told her that she has a long road to gain back enough of my trust for me to even consider supporting partial custody, and that until the court tells me otherwise, I'm fighting for full custody. I'm getting a lot of grief from her family and even my family about it. They all think I should give her a chance, since she's their mother, as if that somehow erases the fact that she's been gone for 2 years. You need a lawyer, not Reddit. I have one, and have been working with them to be as prepared as I can be. I just keep hearing so many versions of, but she's their mother from both her family and even mine. Her family I can kind of understand, but hearing it from a mom and aunt is what is making me question myself. Like, to them it's so easy to overlook all the BS just because she gave birth to the kids. She may be their mother, but relapsing twice clearly shows that she loves drugs more. If she wants partial custody, then she can and should prove it. Because as their father, I'm not putting the children at risk over a third relapse. Absolutely do not relent. She's an addict, and I would need to see years of being clean before I'd ever consider partial custody. She even recognized that this isn't about her. It's about the well-being of the kids. Maybe that will finally motivate her to get clean. I'm getting a lot of grief from her family and even my family about it. They all think I should give her a chance since she's their mother. And I am their father, the one who has been there every day of their lives. This decision is in the best interest of my children. Not stay home. Addicts are masters of manipulation, and there's no way to know if she's truly doing better without the intervention of the court.